Okey-doke. And just checking that everyone can see the screen okay.
Looks
Great.
great.
Awesome. Okay. So just to get started, today we're going to do a brief training on the GLP Hub. Um, as this is a space where we're trying to connect our community, excuse me, and provide a platform for GLP members to to have a place to connect with each other that doesn't need to be so centralized to the IPO. So a little bit about me. My name is Riley Auger. I am the GLP International Program Office Program Manager and Network Lead. And I figured I'd give you a nice little video screen walkthrough of my profile on the Hub, where you guys can all go to learn a little bit more about me and my background, and just to also demonstrate the capabilities that the Hub has for you all to make sure that your guys' backgrounds and bios are how they can be accessed. And the important part about that too is that it's not just for you, it's for the entire network to be able to kind of see and find people and find potential collaborators. Um, so if you all go to this QR code, you will see on the GLP Hub under announcements a survey that we have. And it'd be great if you all could use the QR code and fill out some of the surveys. And I will also post the link in the chat. For those just joining, we are doing a brief icebreaker, and you can scan the QR code on your phone, or I dropped the link in the chat that will take you to the Hub where there's a brief survey. Over here. Let's see. Okay, so we have some people who have been involved, or one person who's been involved for more than 10 years. I think I know who that might be. And 2 votes so far for people who have been involved for 1 to 5 years. And that'll continue to trickle on. And it's available for you all and anybody to access on the Hub at any point. Okay, so why do we need another platform? We have Twitter, Blue Sky, we have our website, we have LinkedIn, various platforms, and now we have the Hub. So why do we need another one? As we know, this is the kind of structure that GLP follows, and by introducing the Hub, we really hope to focus and flatten the membership. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. So that it's focused on the members. And so within our membership, we have our working groups, our early career networks, our nodal offices, and then our general members as well. And this is really, the Hub is meant to be a space for all of those people, you included, to be able to go and coordinate and convene without the necessary intervention from the IPO. Previously, there's been a lot of coordination support from the IPO, and it's been, working groups have had to email us directly or, have their own email list that they're maintaining. And we thought that it was really important to give some power back to those people within the network to be able to coordinate on their own in a centralized place that is powerful enough to host the working groups and be able to facilitate the conversations and the type of collaborations that GLP is having that were kind of outside of what we were seeing, and bring it into a centralized place to, again, kind of flatten the network. So some of the things that the hub itself can offer, again, is a place for working groups, nodals, and the ECN, amongst other groups like the SSC, to convene, where you guys can organize your initiatives, your activities. And it's also a place for the larger membership, if you're not necessarily part of any of those groups, to go and share your new publications, job opportunities, and potential funding opportunities that you know of. Previously, a lot of this was dispersed through our e-news, and it was coming to an email that the IPO was managing, and then, basically copying and pasting into our e-news. The hub now provides space for people to just post it directly, and without, again, having to come to the IPO to kind of filter and sort through, especially as the IPO is exploring different kind of methods of operating into the future. And then again, as you kind of saw in my introduction, going through the profile, it is a place to seek out potential collaborators. It's a very powerful tool using the map. So I'll just jump over there really quick. You can go over to people, and from here, it pulls up a map of all of our members across the world. So if you're looking for somebody who is focused in a specific region, you can dial into that region and just kind of like drill down a little bit that way. The other great thing about this too is that you can search by filters. Our previous website had the Find a Scientist tool, and that is over here now, in addition to being on our website. But this is more focused for our members specifically. So you can go in here, you can, explore what kind of methods people are looking into, what career stage people might be at, regions where people conduct their research, the scales, dynamics, and areas of expertise. And so you can use this great filter option. So if I want to find someone who does agroecology, that says there are 36 members. I'm sure that there are more, but these are some of the newer filters that we introduced with the platform. So as people update their profiles, this will become even more robust of a tool. So for right now, if I want to explore people who study agroecology or collaborate with someone doing that, it pulls up this list. I can send them a message directly on the hub and start a conversation with them. Or I can go to their profile and learn a little bit more about them, where they're based, where they're at in their career, all of these kinds of things, and their position. So that is like the powerful way for, GLP members to find potential collaborators and experts within our network, as we're trying to solve some of these challenges that we face as a global population. And then, as we saw this past week, this has been a space for us really to gather when we cannot be together in person. The OSMs are wonderful events and really a flagship and key to our network and being able to collaborate together in person. And there's so much value in that. But obviously they are challenging events to put on, and we cannot put them on every year. But we want to continue to make sure that there is a place where we can gather. And so the week of LSS has been hosted and really driven by by the GLP Hub. And so that is really where we see a lot of benefit to the hub and the power behind it as well. There's a lot of tools within the hub itself that we are learning and exploring. This is a relatively new platform to us, and as we're becoming more familiar with it, we're seeing a lot of the tools that are available as well. And we hope that it can really serve the Global Land Program community as a place to come and gather. One, when we can't be together in person again, but for us to really drive science forward and not just be another platform like LinkedIn or what have you that, is dead or doesn't get used or is obnoxious to go through and filter the stuff that you really want. So we hope that it can kind of be that place for our members to come and be engaged in the science in the community. And with that, this is a short presentation. I really wanted to leave a lot of time for any discussion, especially again, this is 6 months old now. And so we would really appreciate any feedback that people have on the hub. Or if there's things that you don't know how to do, like we can absolutely take this time right now to go through and screen share and what have you. So yes, I will turn it over to you all, the audience, for any questions you may have. And if I missed anything, Ariane, please feel free to cover anything important.
That was great. No, I think there's a few things I could mention in addition, but I'd love to hear, people's questions and sort of thoughts first, on what you've already presented. That was really great, Riley. It's a good start for sure.
Yes, Rachel.
Okay, so if I want to, like, just if you could just walk me through, because if I wanted to see if anybody had like posted teaching materials or something about teaching,
Mm-hmm.
how would I get started? Would I do a general search, or would I go into groups? Would I look through the discussion? Like, what would be a strategy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. The way that I would approach that is just from here, I would maybe go to the forum if it's broadly across the entire community that you're
Mhm.
looking for materials. And we can add some of these categories as well that, it's like teaching materials. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't believe I've seen any that, especially like I have the admin view, I kind of see like a lot that goes on. I've not seen anything specific come through. But if that's something that you're interested in kind of pushing, we can, one, create a category, and then
Mm-hmm.
two, put out a call kind of
Mm-hmm.
on the announcement and news section that says, if you have any specific teaching materials that you think would be helpful for people to explain, LSS or specific topics in
Mm-hmm.
LSS, post them into the forum. And then you can use these categories. So for example, if I just click on Week of LSS, all of the results will pop up here.
Do you want to share your screen so people can see what you're?
Is it not showing?
Oh, maybe. Sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. Now I've got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind. I had the view of just all your faces. Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
And I mean, maybe just to chime in there, like, so Riley had to do several months of work to kind of structure it and populate it for GLP. And then we launched in January. And it's very much been like a soft launch where we like trying to help the SSC get started, trying to help working groups get started. But we're still in this like intermediate phase, I would say, where this next phase is like, it's kind of like the week of land system science. Like people come in and they say what they want, and then we kind of build it out that way. And so, like, for example, like we haven't sort of said, all right, given our theories of change from the SSC, like what are the pieces of the hub that are missing? Because I personally am still get confused over like what's a feed, what's a forum, where would a resource be? Like,
Yeah.
I think that stuff's not clear to us yet, too. And that is sort of like, and it'll also kind of be a function of like how we decide to populate it with the stuff that we really want. Like another example is that the science plan's not on the website right now. I think we'll put it on the outward facing website soon because I don't think, I think the NSF chapter of stuff will be over and then we won't have to sort of hide. But right now, what people probably don't know is that if you go to its resources, right?
Yeah.
Like the science plan is downloadable on the resource page, but like how would you know, right? So I think that's maybe something, and we're going to be lower staffed over the summer, but like when people get back in the fall, we might still have we'll hopefully still have a few months to kind of structure that better or, just build it up. And I see, Anna is on here. We talked yesterday about like Slack channels and, sort of how do we kind of build these up so they're the best possible tool for working groups to communicate with each other. Um, and that's still sort of like another sort of step. Um, One last thing I would
Mm.
say about the search tool, just so you guys can understand sort of the intention and the power of it, is that so we took a real gamble and invested a lot of time and energy and money in building the hub. And the hub will now feed Find a Scientist that's on the Outward website. So if someone comes from outside the community and is like, I'm looking for so and so kind of person, all of that information pulls from our member database over to the outward facing website like every day, and it's integrated. And I know for a fact that part of the reason why we did that is because the journal um, co-chair, co-editors in chief wanted to still use the database to be able to use it for reviewer searches. And so we have to kind of, I think that some of the questions will even be tweaked, and then we'll have to tweak them over to like how they draw and define a scientist, but just sort of like that's kind of how important, it is. So if you're a member, maybe it will help people to know that like that's where they're going to be searching for reviewers. That's where they're, like that we kind of maybe need to be clear with the community is like, what are we using this database for and how is it a benefit to you? Anyway, sorry, those are like my three little things, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if as we're populating with ideas, like if it becomes maybe more intuitive, like how we label things,
Mm,
or it seems really well designed right now for putting things in, like putting in discussion items, posts,
mm,
things like that, and less clear how to take out, like, and
mm,
how, or like,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
yeah, I don't know.
mm-hmm. For sure. Like I would know right now if I wanted to email everybody in a working group and I was a working group lead, or like if I was Ayana and I wanted to email the whole ECN list, and
Yeah.
be like, hey guys, I wouldn't know how to do that. So that's kind of Melody brings up an interesting point in the chat and she says, I'm not likely to use the hub, but I enjoy a monthly webinar series that provides a regular opportunity to gather. So that's the other thing is that there'll definitely be like tiers of people, some people that use it more and less, but even if like we're able to do these kinds of events, like an online meeting once a year that was totally supported by the hub, and it seems like that worked once people get in, it's pretty easy to figure it out. It can be worth it, and we can do more stuff like that.
I mean, one thing that worked really well for this week was that I had obviously I love the integration with the calendar. So I mean it would just pop up into my calendar,
Mhm.
but also just being able to constantly go back to the hub to look at when the events are and what's there.
Mhm.
It's also going to be really useful when comes time for the open science meeting again, I think, because I hate conference websites, but
Mhm.
like this works really well. So this will make it really like easy to find again.
And one of the things that Riley said again is just what we really mean is like, even if we have a sort of smaller IP over the next couple of years and we're like building back up and we have an OSM, it's like the groups can self-organize. So the whole shifting cultivation working group like actually planned their session on the hub. They got together, they figured out who their speakers were. That was like the perfect use case.
Mm.
So for the OSM, it would be like where you would go to be like, to sort of be like, who do I want in my session? Calling, people. We didn't have that this time. It was just everyone sort of informal networks. So that could be that would be a really great tool. That will be a great use for sure.
Yep. Laura.
Yeah, sorry, Laura.
Yes, so just building off what Ariane was saying, then I was thinking about what was mentioned during the early career session yesterday in terms of when there was a question about more like internal communication on a Slack channel. Like it seemed a bit like people didn't know about the hub. So, like Riley, with your sort of entry point behind the scenes, can you see what makes, for example, the shifting cultivation working group work in how Ariane just mentioned, like how that could be facilitated for the early career network, or is it already working?
Um, I actually did not know that the shifting cultivation group until
Mhm.
Ariane just mentioned it, that they organized on the hub. Um, from what I can see, like I get a whole different view on the back end. Um, and if I go to groups, let's see. Um,
I think it would just be nice if you sort of have few like steps, sort of like this is step one, two, three, in order to actually sort of like
Mhm.
facilitate a discussion and make it
mhm.
work.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not totally sure. Let's see if
Oh, no,
they
right. I can tell you how that happened.
okay.
You don't need to look. I mean, basically, it was like I told Dominic that he could try it, and he did.
Okay.
And
Great.
the other members of the group did. Like they were on an email thread, and since I'm a part of the group, I got it, and I was like, "Hey, go to the hub." And then they tried to do it. They did it there.
Awesome.
For the ECN, what I'm not sure is like like for example, for the ECN session yesterday, I was thinking once we got into the session, one of the things we could have done in advance that Ayana and Daniel probably wouldn't have had access to is like everybody who attended the Oaxaca meeting, we could have added them to the ECN group on the hub and then emailed everybody and said, there's going to be a session on Friday, on Thursday for the ECN. And then they would have gotten like an invitation in advance. So I think that's the kind of thing we could do, right, in the future.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and so it does look like, just even looking on my end, they sent an email using the email campaign like
Exactly.
function
Mhm.
of the hub to their members.
Exactly.
And you can get a report. Yeah, okay. So they sent this to all of the people who are in the hub. It automatically sends it. You can add outside emails if you want. And so they shared that out, which is great.
Mhm.
Yes, Katarzyna. I'm
Or
sorry if I
Kasia. No,
mispronounced
no,
that.
you're really close. Katarzyna or just Kasia. Thank you for organizing. I'm obviously one of the younger bloods here, but I've been on the old platform, and my question is like more general. What's the uptake of this new one? Because I have a feeling that some people were lost in translation. And I think I received only like a single communication somewhere, which I've almost overlooked. So maybe there is a still way to bring people over to this new platform because a lot of names is missing. And I know that they are still considering themselves a part of this community. So
Mm.
Mhm.
I understand that the platform is only 6 months old and you're doing great job. And this soft start is really starting to pick up. But maybe we are still able to get the old ones.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so what we did is we kind of from our old platform, we took our database and we kind of cleaned it up there, any duplicate people, anything like that. And we uploaded it directly into this into the hub, into the back end. And from there it like populated all of the information from all of the members that we previously had. is it possible that people may have gotten dropped off? Absolutely. We are trying. So the first message you probably received was like kind of in February, where we were like, here's the hub, we're starting it, activate your account. And that was like the critical step for a lot of that we need people to do is they need to like confirm their account, even if they are already members. And so we were kind of sending those messages out. We've got about a little over 50% of the previous like membership activated on the hub now. And now we're, sending out messages we're continuing to send out message on a monthly basis to people of like, hey, please make sure to activate your account so that you can, access this. We'll still have our e-news that's separate kind of from this, but we are, really trying to drive people here and pushing in a couple different ways to get people at least activated onto the hub and logged in once so that, they're there.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
I mean, I think you're totally right. It's just a challenge to get people over, and we just have to do it little by little. I'm sort of a perfect example of the worst offender, of the kind of person that if I wasn't running this, really involved in this network, I'd probably be one of those people that like would, ignore the email for 6 months. So I think we just need to keep trying. Yeah, maybe we need to provide some like some type of reward.
I mean, I think it's just going to be exponential. And I think it is what it is, but every effort we put in now should spiral. But just a lot of the functions won't be as useful until people are using it. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sasha?
I have a question that I missed some posts as well. I was wondering if there is a way to get a wrap of the week by email of the posts on the platform.
100%. So you are able to, I'll walk you through it here right now, and then I'll show you, I put together a YouTube video tutorial that can like show you how to do that as well. But very briefly, if you go here into the hub and click on your little profile face over here, you can go to my settings and then notifications. And from there, if you're a part of a specific group, you can update your notifications for a specific group, but for the general hub, you can, if you want event notifications, you can select that. It will email you. If you want, so if you want to, I don't really know what this additional categories is, but email communications from the Global Land Program, that'll be newsletters, announcements, anything. That'll come to you as well. Messages from other members. So if someone DMs you, you can get that. There's lots to do there. And then updates, there are a couple of things that you can do. And then if you want to turn off all notifications, you can do that, and you just save. And then that part of those things, if you're subscribed to them, it will send you like a weekly digest of what's going on.
Great. Just a follow up. So I need to be following a post in order to get a notification about that post.
No, not specifically. No. Let's see. These are just your posts that are posts that you've commented on that you'll receive emails on. This is for specifically followed content. But some of the other like activities, I would say, is probably where you would get the most. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
one more point is that I think uh people need to learn how to, well, essentially its use will be if it replaces other things more efficiently.
Hmm.
So, for example, I mean, I think it was really appealing when you started talking about specifics, like looking for experts on a session, looking for experts on a subject for your session, or
Mhm.
looking for reviewers
Yeah.
for an article, or
Mhm. Mhm.
um, overwhelmed by getting started with a class. Like, how can you start? It's
Mhm.
like basically impossible to find case study materials online, even though there's all these new journals saying they do it. So,
Mhm.
I
Okay.
just think it's going to be like that. It's going to be super invaluable once there's stuff in there,
Mhm.
and people know how to use it. But somehow we have to drive people. Like, I was just thinking, why am I not writing all of my LinkedIn posts also as discussion point?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's so you
Mhm.
have to kind of replace.
I mean, for right now, it's because it's a small audience, but like at
Yeah,
some
but
point, it would be great. Hmm.
But yeah, I really like that where it's like, yeah, instead of scouring the depths of the internet, this is
yeah,
like your place to come for all things kind of LSS if you're, yeah, like teaching a course or trying to find
Yeah.
presenters. I think
Yeah.
that's a great way to kind of to sell it. I think, yeah, that's not quite something that I've been necessarily thinking about as far as like just getting everything set
Mhm.
up. But it's helpful to hear that directly from like, the scientists from you guys as like what
Mhm.
is most useful for you.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure. Yeah, and I think maybe also along those lines, I'm trying to think of more questions, but like if we're thinking more that we want to try to do, we're trying to find groups of people that aren't maybe even not necessarily working groups, but people who want to collaborate on a theme or a grant or, like find money together to work on a topic.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't, yeah, and I have to figure out how you would formulate that. It does have some limitations in terms of like I know what now like yesterday when we were talking about the ECN, like it's not quite, and we have found that for the SSC, it's not quite as functional as say a Slack channel, because you can send each other messages and comments and threads, but I still think you can get quite a lot accomplished with the lists. I don't know, Riley, if you want to talk a little bit more about the functionality for the working groups that you imagine, just for some of the folks that are here.
Yeah. I think for working groups, you know, right now there's the early career working group. And there's a lot that like we can do within the space as far as posting things. Um, but also, there's this media center where I haven't put anything in there directly yet, but in other groups I've posted like a guide of how to use like some of the back end stuff. There's specific forums within each group where you can pose questions and discussions to each other. You can plan events um, for each other that are just specific to the ECN or whatever working group you might be in. And then, you can explore your members that are a part of this group as well. Um, Lots of people who are in this chat, um, which is great. Um, but yeah, I think how the groups want to structure what their what the outputs of the groups on the hub is it's
Mhm.
going to be a little bit up to them. Like we can give you guys some kind of guardrails of like, this is how we could imagine things working. But it will be definitely up to like the coordinators to kind of feed the space to get what they're hoping to out of it. Laura?
Yes, so this is just a question for you, Riley. So I really liked for the land system science week that you could kind of organize all the different events according to when they would actually happen, right? So then
Mm-hmm.
the ones happening very soon would pop up. It was brilliant setup, I think. But so I'm missing that function a little bit in relation to, for example, like the training when you go into the hub and then you look at the training courses, or for example, the
Mm-hmm.
job postings or so on. Then
Mm-hmm.
when I try to scroll sort of through these, then maybe it's just me that would like to have things organized by date.
But
But
yeah,
is there any kind of way to actually do that?
I unfortunately with the forum where it's like all of this stuff, it is by you can sort by recently active
Hmm.
right here or most popular. So most popular is like people who like this one got a lot of activity on it.
Hmm.
Um, recently active will most likely be your like chronological.
Yeah.
Um, there are some things too, like in things that I will post that I will specifically pin to the top of a channel if
Okay.
I think it's really important. And sometimes it will kind of hang out there and not necessarily be chronological. Um, so, for example, if I go to announcements, I think I've unpinned a lot. But you can also kind of see like the top posts up here.
Hmm.
But then there were some news items that were up here for a while, like the call for ECN coordinators and stuff like that. I had left up there on purpose.
Mhm.
That was not quite chronological, but you should be able to use this filter that kind of, you know, attempts to put it in a way that
Yeah.
makes the most sense for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a feeling one day we're gonna look back on this and be like, I wish we had more like thought through how we were hashtagging things so we could
Mhm.
sort it, and but I don't know if we can. I don't think we can foresee any of that now.
Mm.
So I'm just saying, like, what if it becomes okay? So everybody posts their publications, and we have this great database of like land system science publications, and somebody later wants to do what are land system scientists publishing about, and or is there a gender bias in it, or what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, then
Yeah.
will it be there to use the way?
So here's an interesting thing, which is like kind of good and kind of bad. So, our old website, it was just classic keyword search, pretty weak. And, so stuff, I mean, we still have it as an archive, but there's so much richness there that you would really need some special tools to dig through. Hybrid is a pretty expensive product. It's made in France. They're updating it a lot, and I don't think we wouldn't pay for this, but if they've already asked us if we want to have AI turned on for like certain aspects of it. So my guess is that in the future, if we stay with hybrid, it's $20,000 a year. It's really expensive. Um, if we have it and we keep it, then um, I'm sure it's going to have that functionality soon.
Yeah. And I mean, even this search function up here is like AI. They use AI to kind of like search throughout
Mhm.
our space. So if I'm trying to find, I don't know, I'll just go week of LSS, for example. I can search and then it'll pull up everything from posts, events, forum
Mhm.
posts,
Mhm.
people, all of that. And so that is AI driven and it is pretty powerful. Um, we did hear from our like um person or representative at Highbright that this is still kind of like in beta mode.
Mhm.
So there might be a few glitches, but that is something that they are moving towards.
Mhm. Riley, did you see Anna's 2 points in the
Oh,
chat?
no, I did not. Sorry.
No, no, it's good. I was just letting you know that it's there. And is this session? Let's see.
Okay, yes. Um, so here's something that I believe the reason people might not be getting notifications is we purposefully turned off, like auto turned off notifications for people because we made the assumption that most people would not want to receive those or would delete those. So that is something that you can go in and fix that should give you like the weekly digest. That was kind of the default we went with because we were afraid of spamming people and wanted to take the approach of let's not do it and have people opt in rather than opt out. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of the approach we took. So Anna, if you go into your notification settings, you should be able to turn those on and like receive some of the emails that you're looking for. Um, and that should fix that. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. Katarzyna, I'm just looking through the chat really quick and then to make sure I covered everything, but
Sure.
I will jump to you in just a second. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think yeah, go ahead and ask your question if you have something.
Okay, thanks. So you mentioned that the platform has AI behind. So I'm wondering, like, with all the data protection differences between states and Europe, and
It's all
also,
GDPR.
okay,
Yeah,
and
they're
there's
pretty
no spillage of personal information. Perfect. Yeah,
right.
that
Yeah, it's
that was
because we
my.
were careful with that, like to not go with an American company right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's all GDPR regulations. Um,
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the AI that they're using it's specific to like our space. And it's just like an optimized kind of search function within our specific space. And so all the data is still, like Ariane was saying, is still protected. And it follows the GDPR standards.
I also think Hive is what we use at Cambridge, by the way, the Cambridge Conservation Initiative
right, oh
in
great.
technology. So, although it's not as good as this, but great.
Thank you, Riley. This
Of
was really great.
course.
And thanks everybody for coming. It's great
Um,
feedback.
I do have like a question that I did want to pose to the people who are here, especially thank you all for coming. Um, and maybe we can loop in a few more people. But one thing, that I've been thinking about a lot is, and the answer doesn't have to be yes or no or even today, but just something to think about is there interest in kind of creating some sort of like a GLP hub task force, if you will, to help establish kind of some terms of engagement for the community as a whole, just so that, we have some kind of guidelines and principles for our community members. Not that we've necessarily had like any severe problems, but just to kind of help guide some discussions and make sure that we have some standards that way if we need to ever enforce them, they exist and we have something to go back to. So that's just something that I wanted to pose to this group since you guys are here, and then we'll probably ask to the larger community at some point as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could be like how SSC members have tasks. I think, though, now that we have the ECN leadership too, and I mean, also could be working, but basically, I would just try to get one person from the SSC and one person from ECN at least. Like, it doesn't have to be big. The smaller could be more agile, but to be like really pushing this forward because you won't be able to push it forward, and also you've already put so much of your brain power into it that now you need other people's perspectives on what needs to go into it. So I think a task force like that's small but is really kind of assigning yeah, assigning it to a specific small group of people.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense and kind of what I had in mind. The bigger that these things get, sometimes the more complicated they get. And so I do agree that it should probably stay small. But yeah, I think, I can as an individual can do as much as I can to try to get this set up as best as possible. But at some point, definitely, and thank you all for your feedback. But yeah, need feedback and some buy-in as well from the community as a whole to make sure that it is a tool that functions the way it's supposed to for everyone.
Yeah. So we should definitely act on that. I mean, it kind of relates to a question when in the very beginning, when you asked the SSC to like sort of start posting, that was like our dry run, I asked, we had a discussion in the co-chairs meeting. It was like, so what do you want us to get out of that? Like, what's the purpose of the post? So in terms of engagement type of approach, like I wasn't clear what was the goal of my post. So, and I think we have, and now it's becoming obvious, okay, there's a lot of different areas and they need different strategies. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Well, if there are any lingering questions, please, we have plenty of time. But yeah, this was meant to be a somewhat short and kind of informal session to just kind of broadcast the hub and get it out there to people. But yeah.
It's great to see certain earlier career people showing up as leaders across multiple sessions. So thanks for that.
Yes.
Nice to see you guys.
Yeah,
Great.
great.
All
Thank you,
righty.
Riley. This is really great. And I think this is super helpful. Thank you for the feedback because I think it can help us shape the strategy, like the e-news that we send, having a hub spotlight every month, keeping, as Kat was saying, like pointing people back to, the hub again and again so that they don't have to dig through the link in their email and they have like another reason to try it out and get in. We got a lot of new converts for the LSS meeting, right? Like
Yeah, there was over 100.
So see, that was like you have to kind of create a reason for people to be there, just like you were saying, Rachel. And I took down that list of sort of suggestions, and maybe we can kind of frame some posts like that, like need reviewers, this is what you do. Like
Yeah.
so that was very helpful. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
Riley.
Yes, thank you all very much. Appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good one.
You
Thank
too.
you.